Hello everyone, and welcome to Against the Storm. Um, Against the Storm is a roguelike city builder, I guess. Uh, it's a peculiar game. It's one of a kind, really. Uh, it takes some things from old games like Settlers, where you build an economy to produce things, and the things you produce you process further and then turn into various benefits to sustain a village or empower it somehow. Um, since this is the first time I'm playing the game on this channel, I will do a kind of demonstration run with explanation of game concepts and such. So let's jump right in. So, Against the Storm is a game that takes place in what I think is an apocalyptic time where the world is constantly consumed by storm. Most of the time, the storm is bearable, like uh, people can go out and do stuff, but it's always toxic. It's always there's something wrong with the rain, and it is dangerous for people. Um, and the world is actually every set amount of years consumed by a massive blight storm which ravages pretty much everything, and then it starts anew. And there is one place in the world, the smoldering city here in the volcano, which is sheltered from this effect. The smoldering city persists through the blight storms. So it's only logical that here a government has established itself with a queen. And the queen sends out her viceroys to create settlements in the world. And these settlements, they gather, process, produce, and they bring back goods to the smoldering city, mostly food and some knowledge, technology. And so every cycle consists of viceroys going out there to bring back as much as possible to the smoldering city, and then a blight storm consumes the world and it starts all over again, and only the smoldering city stays alive. So this is also where you do your meta progression. So you got an upgrade tree with small bonuses. They are small, but the more you unlock of them, the more benefits they provide you. Some of them also unlock specific game functionality, especially in the beginning, but I'm not going to explain too much about that now without it being clear what the actual gameplay is about. But yeah, it's a roguelite in a sense, in that you can fail a settlement, but you will still get some experience, you will still get some resources to spend on meta progression, and with these small upgrades you have in the smoldering city, you slowly get stronger. But yeah, that's I want to start with the basic concepts of a run. So on the map you choose your embark location. If you already have settlements out there, you can go further and further, and these question marks are they could be treasure or special modifiers on the map. But anyway, there are different biomes, not going to explain too much about that. I'm just going to take the Royal Woodlands here. For the tutorial run, I'm not going to play on Prestige 18. I'm just gonna take Viceroy. Difficulty, which is already good enough. As a first-time player, I would recommend Pioneer or even Settler. And then as you feel like you can manage, then you just move up the difficulty. You will not see Prestige until you have completed a game at Viceroy difficulty, which is the standard hard, I guess. Then you have prestige levels. You will unlock them one by one. Basically, if you have played games like Slay the Spire, this is like Ascension. This will add a difficulty modifier with each prestige level, and they will keep stacking. Like at prestige 18, you will have all the difficulty modifiers of the other prestige difficulties. This is basically a challenge mode. But yeah, I will play on Viceroy. You can name your settlement if you want. So on the left here, on the caravans tab, you will make a choice about, first of all, who are you bringing to the settlement location and what resources do they have. So here we have harpies and beavers, 5 harpies, 4 beavers. Here we have 8 humans, and here we have 8 beavers. Now, in the beginning, I would recommend that you take beavers, because they are extremely good at woodcutting. One of their benefits is if you employ them as woodcutters, that they will have a 10% chance to get double the amount of wood from a tree, which is massive. The resources, I'm not going to look at that all too much right now. What is important, especially in the beginning, is getting, in first instance, the largest amount of villagers. So this is 988. Sometimes you will see a +2 villagers in the list of resources or something. If you can get 11 villagers, that is extremely beneficial, because that means that you can set up a lot more gathering and even some production in the first year. Yeah, I will take these because I do like harpies. I will explain why later. They're not easy for sure. You don't unlock them at the start of the game. Actually, you have to go through a little bit of meta progression to unlock them. Anyway, we got some eggs here, some mushrooms. That's great. Some basic food to give us some time. You got some parts. Parts are used to construct gathering camps and some other specialized buildings. They are extremely rare. Well, maybe not extremely, but they are rare, and on higher prestige difficulties, where building costs increase, it becomes even more tricky. You can run out of parts, and then you can't build extra gathering camps or other structures that use parts. Wildfire essence is used to build other hearts. I will explain more about that later. Pipes are used to install Rainpunk engines in production buildings and build geyser pumps. These are interesting because they got added yesterday. What you can basically do, and I don't know if they are actually there on lower difficulties. I think they will be there, but there will be no blight rot. Basically, these you can find geysers in the wild. You can harvest them with the geyser pumps, and then basically you can boost production in buildings, and you can make people happier there by ameliorating the working conditions. In turn, using such a powerful resource of the forest is pieces of the forest, and it will start generating a sort of what they call blight rot, which are basically it manifests as plants that lay dormant until it's storm season, and then they start corrupting your hearth, which is basically a central fire that you need to keep burning. And it's bad. I will explain more about that later. But yeah, it's a trade-off between uh, making things better and getting some negative modifiers for that. We got some fabric, some planks. That's nice to start with that. Some bricks. So these are the 3 basic building materials. Most buildings require at least one of these or a combination of them. Some buildings in the beginning cost only wood and parts. There's crystallized dew. I will explain more about that later. And there's coal. We'll also explain more about that later. But yeah, I think this is fine. We have 9 villagers then. Then there's the embarkation bonuses. You will not have... I have 8 points to spend. You will not have 8 points to spend in the beginning of the game, when you've just started out. You earn them through the meta progression. But yeah, you got various resources here that you can spend it on. You got some camps that you can take along. This becomes a lot more useful on higher prestige difficulties, where your ability to mitigate the RNG of what buildings you will get is severely reduced. Got some rerolls, production of various luxury goods, and extra villagers. I will take extra villagers for sure. I have to adjust because I'm not playing any prestige modifiers, so maybe it's not worth it to take a camp, because it's more likely they will show up in blueprint choices. We are in the Royal Woodlands, which means that for every tree cut down we will get 1 extra wood. We are in the Royal Woodlands. We're taking harpies and beavers. I will take a camp. I will take a farm, because there's a lot of fertile soil in the Royal Woodlands generally. Then I like to take some extra food, take some meat. Yeah, that's fine. Then you can embark. Now, you can always check here what you will get, the reward. You can the modifiers you can see here, and the resources that are present on the map. So we got clay, plant fiber, berries, mushrooms, roots, vegetables, meat, eggs, and sea marrow. I will explain more about all of them later. Then the trees, they also have a chance of producing other resources. These are listed here. Alright. Yeah, let's jump right in. So, this is the first thing we get when starting a settlement. It's a screen with the modifiers. First of all, the progression of a settlement happens in real time and over a set amount of years. And each year consists of 3 seasons. There's the drizzle, which is where this bonus comes into effect, where your green positive bonuses come into effect. So this one says gain 1 free cornerstone reroll for every reputation point gained during drizzle season. Cornerstones are perks, basically. You get one each year, and it's a choice out of a few options, depending on what you have unlocked with your meta progression, depending on what other modifiers you have. It could be 2 to 4 perks that you can choose of. You can reroll these if you don't like any of them. So when you gain reputation through in the drizzle season on this map, you will get free cornerstone rerolls. That's fine. Then after the drizzle season, you have a clearance season. After the clearance season, you have the storm. Now, the storm is where things get harder in the game, because your villagers will have a certain resolve, like how well they feel in the settlement, how scared, how comfortable they are, and if they are scared, if they get scared, if they are uncomfortable, their resolve will go down. If it gets low enough, they will start leaving, and that's bad for you. So I will have a quick glance over these and explain them maybe later. Yeah. Okay. You can find these here on the top right of the screen. So I will explain them later because they are talking about some concepts that I would like to explain in different order. So you got your villagers here. The beavers, lizards apparently, and harpies. This green number is their resolve. You can hover over everything and it will give you information about it. I also recommend opening these, which I will explain in a second. You can see numbers here, the total population of a species, the total builders, which is people you haven't assigned to any buildings. They will actually build things. And the amount of homeless. So you have to make sure that your villagers are sheltered, because as I said, the rain in this world is toxic, and especially during the storm, people need to have a house. Then I will explain about this first. These 2 bars. You have the reputation bar, the blue one, It's like this one, if it reaches 14, which is this here, you win. This is basically doing stuff that impresses the queen in the smoldering city. Here you have the queen's impatience. As you can see here, 0.17 per minute. So it will keep going up, and there are various other things that might increase the queen's impatience. If this reaches 14, you fail the run. You will also get extra queen's impatience if you lose villagers due to low morale or death. You will gain queen's impatience by failing timed orders. And there are some other things that you can leverage. Now, so reputation is what you need to earn to win. So how do we earn reputation? First of all, there are orders of the queen that we will get in a while. Completing an order gives you 1 point of reputation. What that also does every time you reach a full chunk of reputation is it lowers the queen's impatience by 1 full chunk. So that is one way to gain reputation, is to complete orders for the queen. The second way is keeping your people happy. How do we do that? Well, depends on the species. There are some basic things that you can do, like building housing will make people slightly happier. Like here you see sheltered. And affected species will get +3 resolve for housing. But these beavers, for example, also have beaver housing, which means that they will be even happier if they get their specialized housing. Then beavers like to eat biscuits. Beavers like to eat pickled goods. These are more complex foods that you can produce by combining various other produced goods or resources that you gather on the map. And they will, first of all, they will be more efficient than basic food, and they will also give a resolve boost. Beavers also like to wear clothing, coats, which you can also produce with certain buildings. Then there are the services. Some races have 2, some have 3. Beavers have leisure, which is basically you need to produce ale, and then you need to have a building, a specialized service building that can offer this ale to the public. And this is a massive boost to resolve if you can get that going. Beavers like education, same thing, you produce scrolls, and the scrolls need a specialized building where they can be offered. Luxury, same thing, it's wine, and you need to have a building where you can offer this wine. Now the lizards, they have their lizard housing. They love jerky, skewers, and pie. Yeah, they also love pickled goods. So they actually have 4 food items that they like. When it comes to services, they like brawling and religion. So they got no synergy with the beavers when it comes to services. But they do have the, what was it, pickled goods synergy with the beavers. Then there's the harpies. They have the jerky synergy with the lizards, skewer synergy with the lizards, Biscuit synergy with the beavers, Brawling synergy with the lizards, Education with the beavers. So, as you can see, these resolve numbers are different for different species. Now, you can look this up in the encyclopedia, but some different species have different advantages. Actually, I'm going to take that. I'm going to look that up and show it. So humans, we don't have them in this settlement. Beavers have. All the races have these different stats. A base resolve, it will be lower for lizards and harpies. Humans have the highest base resolve. So humans are the easiest to start out with, and then beavers. And these are more difficult. They tend to leave earlier if you don't really know yet what you're doing. But yeah, there's the break interval. Villagers will work a set amount of time, and when this timer hits 0, they will go take a break. That's what that is. The resilient is how fast resolve changes. So you will see that once you hit a certain criterion, that will decrease the resolve of a species. It will not immediately drop down to that level. You will see its current resolve, an arrow, and the target resolve, and it will start moving towards the target resolve. Resilient means that if this is high, then this process of moving will go slower, which can be useful. Lizards, for example, have high resilience. If they, for example, have resolve 20 and the storm comes and their target resolve is -5, it will take a long time before they will even dip below 0, and they probably won't dip below 0 during the storm. Demanding, how much resolve is required to gain reputation? Highly demanding species require more resolve to generate reputation. We'll explain more about this in a bit when I can get the other screen. Yeah. Decadent species need more resolve to generate subsequent reputation points. I will explain more about this right now on the other screen. So basically, if you raise your species resolve above this blue bar, here, 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 they will start generating reputation per minute. We have 0 reputation per minute now, but it will be a multiplier of some base number multiplied by the amount of population you have in that species. So now I can get the other screen back. So we know that there is that point that you have to get above with resolve. So demanding is like the base level of where that blue bar is, and decadent means that once you get a point of reputation with as a cause of because of resolve, then this blue bar will move up a little bit and make it harder to reach that high point of resolve. And that's decadent. Highly decadent will need will raise their bar much more than species with low decadence once you gain reputation through that way. So yeah, I'll show that again. Like harpies here, they have current 5 resolve, and you will see it go up here with the bar, and they need 15 resolve to start generating reputation. Now here's the concept of hostility of the forest. The forest doesn't like you. The forest wants you to leave, basically. And hostility is very bad for you. As a base on every map, you have this negative modifier. The rampaging storm stifles the spirits of our living creatures. An additional stack of this effect is added for each hostility level. -4 to global resolve. So for each hostility level, you get -4 to global resolve. And that's during the storm. And when it's not storm, I think it's -2. But I'm not 100% sure about that. Anyway, the storm is the most horrible season, in which you will have the deepest resolve drops. Based on hostility, I will go over some of the other modifiers soon. But yeah, hostility, as you can see here, it increases over the years. Regular glades, dangerous glades are basically, you are cutting through the trees to these new glades. If you open them, it will also increase hostility for each of them you open. I will explain more about dangerous glades and such later. Villagers, the amount of villagers you have. So yeah, you can see 6. Yeah, that's 6 points per villager. And if you reach 100 in the bar above, you raise a level of hostility. And the amount of active woodcutters, that is. So it will not accumulate over time, the amount of trees you cut down, but it's about the amount of woodcutters that are currently active. So to increase resolve during the storm, to lower hostility and increase resolve as a result, you could unassign woodcutters. Forest doesn't like when people are actively cutting the trees down, but when you take them off the job, it calms down a little. Then there are positive modifiers to hostility. The amount of hearts you have. That's your hearts. We'll explain more of that in a bit. And the Queen's Impatience, actually. So as the Queen's Impatience goes up, the forest apparently knows about that, and I guess you can see it like the forest knows that the more impatient the Queen is, the closer it's getting to the point where the Queen orders you to pack up the settlement and say, enough, you're done here. Yeah. So hostility is also important for the extra modifiers. This one you will always have. Each hostility gives -4 to global resolve during the storm. Then these become active at various hostility levels. As you can see, 3 of them will become active from hostility 2 and 1 from hostility 7. Unfortunately, we don't have any modifiers that we can counter. Sometimes you can counter a negative modifier by making sure that everyone has housing or complex food or the needs for services are fulfilled, but that's not the case here. This is the year, and this shows the season, and as we unpause the game, it will start. The time will start to progress. We are now in clearance, in drizzle season. In 4 minutes, the clearance season will start. Then we have 4 minutes until the storm starts, and that's standard 2 minutes. You have your resources here. Everything you have. More icons will appear. They are categories. You have your food. Got my eggs and meat and mushrooms here. Building materials, parts, planks, pipes, bricks, fabric, wildfire essence. Your crafting resources, crystallized dew, so that's all the stuff we started with. And your fuel and exploration, wood and coal. So, this is the central warehouse. That's where all the goods are at. To be able to use these goods, they have to be in the warehouse. If a woodcutter is gathering wood and he has some wood stocked in the building itself, this wood cannot be used for anything else. It needs to be brought to the warehouse first, and then the settlement knows that it has the wood, and then it can be used for other stuff. I will explain more about these later. Yeah, that doesn't matter now. This is the heart, ancient heart. It will be lit. There, it's lit. You have to keep this burning at all times. Yeah, as you can see, the heart of the colony is protected by the holy flame. Villagers gather here to rest, eat, and receive clothing. If the fire goes out, people will lose hope. Yeah, if the fire ever goes out, that's like a -20 resolve drop. People will start leaving. You can choose which fuels to burn in the heart. To keep the heart burning, you need fuel, obviously. And you can see here there's coal, sea marrow, oil, and wood. And they all have various other times, other durations of burning. Like sea marrow and coal burn the longest, 1 minute and 11 seconds. Then oil 35 seconds and wood 17 seconds. Now the thing is that all these resources can at any time be sacrificed as well. You will burn them at a higher rate, but this is, for example, in case of wood and coal, hostility will be reduced when you sacrifice them. If I do this, then that means it will burn 18 coal per minute to reduce hostility by 80. This is nice in emergencies. Then there's this one. Glade event work speed increased by 25%. I will explain about glade events later. And the oil increases global production speed by 25%. Then a heart. As you can see, when I click the heart, you have this radius here. This is the radius in which you can build houses for your villagers and service buildings. If you build them outside the radius, they do not house people, and the service buildings don't do anything. So yeah, you have to kind of manage your space here, but that's fine because you can build other hearts. The hearts also has upgrade requirements to increase the level of your settlement. So here you have to house 8 people, and you have to build 4 decorations, comfort decorations. So these are like benches and barrels and stuff. It's kind of silly. You just plop them down somewhere in the corner, and yeah, that upgrades your settlement. And these, I recommend getting the first upgrade the first year, because what it does is give you +2 global resolve, which is nice. So you will start, everything will be placed randomly, and then you will have some resources that you start with. You can press B to highlight them. Here you have some roots. These are basically food. You need a forager's camp to harvest these roots. You do not start with a normal forager's camp. You do start with a small forager's camp. And it is slower than the forager's camp, and it can also only harvest small nodes. But yeah, you always start with small nodes in the first region that you're in. So we could put a forager's camp down here in a bit. And clay, you do start out with a stonecutter's camp, full-fledged. So basically, clay is primarily used in the beginning to make bricks, important building material, and roots. It keeps your people fed. But actually, the first thing you should probably do is put down 2 woodcutters' camps. I'm just going to look at the terrain a little bit. Okay. So basically, you open new glades. They increase hostility, but they also give you new resources. There will be new resources present. In the small glades, we'll have small deposits. And these will probably have larger deposits, dangerous glades. They will also contain 1 threat, which is like a kind of building that you have to send people to resolve the threat. We will talk more about that when we get there, but this can also be a way to gain reputation points or other resources. But we will talk about that when we get there. Yeah, you have those dangerous glades and the forbidden glades, which are even more dangerous but give higher rewards. So, yeah, I will put down woodcutter's camp. Right here for now. I'm orienting the arrow towards the forest because that is where they exit the building and enter it again when they're cut, after they cut things down and carry the wood towards the building. I will put 1 here, and I have got them standard set to only marked trees because that's how I like to work. But you can tell it to fell all trees in range, to avoid glades except the marked ones, and stuff like that. You can customize it. So, but yeah, it's important that you don't just open a new glade without really wanting to, because it will increase hostility, and sometimes you will have negative modifiers that actually make this worse, or make it worse during, for example, storm season. There's 1 negative modifier that says opening a glade during the storm will give your people minus a certain amount of global resolve for 3 minutes, which is obviously bad. So you don't want to do that. I like to have full control over the trees you cut down. So I got only marked trees. You can set that in the options, I believe. Oh, here, gameplay. Yeah, and you can set a bunch of these options according to your need. Yeah, default woodcutter's camp mode, only marked trees. Alright. But I think this video is long enough for now, so I will cut here and we will continue next time. So thanks for watching and see you next time.